So, Stuart, I think if you want to just pan around onto me now. So, welcome to this Facebook Live. We are live on the BBC News Facebook page, and we are at the Lindo Wing, which is a private NHS wing. It's at a hospital in central London near Paddington Station, of course, in England, in the capital of England. Stuart, if you just follow me along, careful the lamppost. There it is, that's the Lindo Wing, and of course this is where Kate is about, we hope and expect, to have her third baby. The announcement was made this morning via Kensington Palace, which was a very simple announcement. Simply said that she had left Kensington Palace with the Duke of Cambridge and made her way to the Lindo Wing, expecting her third baby. So there it is, one single police officer guarding the entrance to that very prestigious private hospital, which is where Kate had two of her other children, George and Charlotte, of course, both 4 and 2. And of course, as is now... Oh, it's very windy. It's a bit of a wind tunnel along this road, I have to say. I'm going to keep on moving further forward because I suspect we will be moved on by the police at some point anyway. This is an active hospital, of course, and still incredibly busy. But as I say, as is traditional now with these royal births, the media circus cranks into place almost immediately after we have the announcement. And if Stu, you just pan around now, you can see that already we have got dozens, if not hundreds, of camera crews from media organisations all over the world that are already setting up and broadcasting almost constantly. We are in the road here, so I don't want to go too far, but they go right to the end of this street here, move all the way along. I think I can see AFP in the crowd here. I think this is a German station. If we just cross over the road now whilst it's clear, I think I can see a royal historian here. Let's move along, see who else we can see. Clearly there's a huge amount of interest from all over the world in this royal wedding. We can see ABC News standing here. If we keep going further along, in fact, I think we may bump into our colleagues at BBC News, which have pride of place, I'm led to believe, outside the front entrance of the Lindo Wing. And of course, there's Amber and royal correspondent. I could just have a quick word live on the BBC News Facebook page. And Sarah, of course, knows much more about the subject than I, so I will defer to her wisdom.
Take that out of my ear.
Sorry to catch you off guard like this.
That's all right.
Sarah, have you done a royal birth before here?
Yes. So Princess Charlotte. So she was born, I remember 3 years ago, almost exactly. We were camped out here for much longer, actually. There's been a definite less of a sort of camping out and having all the resources here, perhaps because it's baby number 3. Are we allowed to say that? But 3 years ago we were here for Princess Charlotte. She was born on the 2nd of May 2015. So on that day we got an email at about 0600 or 0615 saying that Catherine had gone into labour, that she'd been brought into the Lindo Wing. So we all flocked down here, and then I think the birth announcement itself was around about 11 o'clock. So it was 5 hours between that and the one saying the baby had been born.
Does it feel different today, is there just as much excitement as last time?
Yeah, so it doesn't. Like I said, it hasn't been the build-up. So I remember with Charlotte, I was here on call sort of day after day after day, and then we got the birth happened on the 2nd of May, and there hasn't been that this time. There haven't been as many crews. There've been some, but not as many crews actually camped out for days. And I wasn't involved in Prince George's birth back in 2013, but my understanding is that again that was bigger again. So it's been scaled down. But no matter how many times people say we're not going to make a big deal of it because it's baby number 3, it's just inevitable that this kind of thing will happen because it's a royal baby, because there is interest from global crews, crews from around the world. I mean, I don't have you been up that end. That tends to be where the foreign crews are.
Yeah, we had a quick walk down, actually, trying not to get run over on the way. But yeah, there are...
So how many nationalities are there?
Well, I can see, I think we saw South America, European, so yeah.
Japanese usually here. I mean, there will be lots of crews here, so it just shows. But I mean, when you talk about Prince George and Princess Charlotte, they are possibly the 2 most famous children in the world, and number 3, even though it's baby number 3, and I'm calling it that because we don't know if it's going to be a boy or a girl, will be the same. It's just, it's the British royal family. There's a huge amount of interest in it around the world, and that has continued.
And of course, with Charlotte, when we got the announcement, I think the birth actually came quite quickly afterward, didn't it?
Yeah, well, that's sort of doing the maths. So we had the announcement she'd gone into labour at 6 o'clock in the morning, and then the announcement the birth had happened at 11 o'clock. So it was like 5 hours in between. So we got the announcement this morning that Catherine had gone into the hospital at 8 o'clock. So if it's the same amount of time, then that would take us to about 1 o'clock this afternoon.
So would that suggest it's going to be the same again? There's no way knowing, is there?
We don't know. We really don't know. George's birth was 10.5 hours of labour. Charlotte's birth was roughly 2.5 hours of labour. So obviously that's a lot. But that's sort of normal in that the second baby tends to be quicker. Third baby, again, the sort of normal births would hint that perhaps it will be shorter again, but who knows? I mean, 2.5 hours for labour is pretty short.
Sure. Well, Sarah, look, I know you're really busy. You've got lives to do all day. I take it, have you? And so we'll keep going on and give her a breather. Oh, we're getting moved out of the road now, actually, which is kind of understandable, I think. Let's make our way to the end of this press pack, which travels all the way down here. This is the entrance to the NHS hospital. And there are volunteers here struggling, bless them, to try and clear the area. Oh, we're not allowed to film here, so we're being moved further on, I'm afraid. Let's move on to the pavement. We're not allowed to film in the road. It is quite fraught, as you can tell, because it's obviously a very busy hospital, and volunteers here doing a very difficult job of trying to tame this fairly unruly media at times. So anyway, what we can see here is a load of royal fans who are gathered here pretty much every time this happens. They're a dedicated bunch. I wonder if we can actually just get the microphone in and have a little chat with a couple of them if we're lucky. Let's see if we can have a word with this gentleman here. Excuse me, sir. You're live on the BBC News Facebook page. So, I mean, first of all, tell us a little bit about your suit, because that's pretty spectacular.
Again, it was given to me as a present from Holland. They had it tailor-made. I've got 3 suits.
Did you have them made specially for these occasions?
Well, no, I didn't have it made. They want me to be like David Beckham. So I've got 3 sizes.
Tell me, how long have you been here waiting then for this third royal baby?
For this one, 15 days, all of us. There's only 6 of us, but we like each other's company and look after us.
And you have a baby there. Is that a royal baby? It's faintly
again,
terrifying, actually.
It does cry and it does beat.
Oh, does it? Okay, shall we have a listen?
All right. If you hold the money box.
Oh, do you want me to hold that? Yeah, okay.
Right.
We await with interest what this baby's going to say.
No, you could wake up.
There he is. Do you expect?
It sounds good, doesn't it?
That is quite something, isn't it? I wonder if the baby will give us a little wave like that when he or she emerges later on.
I'm sure that William will come across.
Sure, indeed. Okay, so I take it you're very excited anyway to catch a glimpse.
Overwhelmed.
Right, okay. Thank you. I'll move on. Thank you very much. Might just see if we can have a chat with maybe one other person on the other side, if we can sneak through. If you come this way, Stuart. Thanks. I wonder if we can just perch here. Excuse me, sorry to interrupt while you're on the phone. Can we just have a quick chat? You're live on the BBC News Facebook channel. I mean, so you're all gathered into a bit of a tight pen here. Is that how it's always been? Were you here for the other birth?
Yes. Actually, we're nearer than we were for Princess Charlotte. And this is not the normally do. We'll put winter pens to keep everything controlled, because it's a working hospital and people need to get in and out. This is to get you into A&E and things.
Yeah. I mean, it's amazing, isn't it? It's been, 2 or 3 hours since the announcement, and already it's just crazy out there, isn't it?
And it'll get worse, as the day goes on. But I do think she'll have the baby the day and be out this afternoon.
What makes you say that then?
She was quick with Charlotte. She wasn't so quick with George, but that was her first child. But with Charlotte, she was in and out the same day, and I should imagine this one will be the same. If there isn't any complications, that is.
And let me ask you, what makes you feel like you have to come down to be part of all this?
I like to come to every milestone in Prince William and Harry's life. I was a big supporter of Princess Diana, and this is very important to me to be here. I camped out for William and Catherine's wedding, and I've been here for the other 2 children camping, and I've been here for 15 days camping for this one. I just had to be here, and what a day to be born on St. George's Day. That's great for the country.
And of course, we have Prince Harry and Meghan Markle's wedding coming up as well. Will you come down for that as well?
I'm coming down for that. It's all planned. We're going down on the 30th of May. We're going to stay in a hotel for a couple of days, and then we're going to just sit in the train, try and pack a good spot.
And of course, Kate, if she has the baby today, will have some time to recover for that,
will,
won't she?
Yes, and they'll also have a christening. There'll be a christening to go to, so we'll be staying out all night for that way.
Royal events all year, eh? Okay, well, thanks for talking to me. I've just realised I've still got that gentleman's bus, so let's go and return that to him before he starts to get worried. Sorry, I walked up to your bus. I wasn't trying to steal it, I promise. Okay, we'll see if we can talk to maybe one other person in the crowd here. Let's see. Should we try and bury ourselves in a little bit? I'm just trying to
go back round again, shall we?
Let's try and bed in a little bit in here and see if we can find someone. Hello, sir. Hi. Can I butt in here? Does this tell me what you're doing here? Are you taking bets?
I'm really sorry. I'm speculating on what happened. I'm sorry. So he is officially from Ladbrokes.
Oh, you're
I'm just a royal biographer. I've written a book.
Well, let me introduce myself. I'm John, and we're live on the BBC Facebook page.
I mean, take it away if you want to.
No, don't worry.
Well, I tell you what, let me just talk to this gentleman here, and then I'll come back to you in a second if that's okay. So, I mean, are these official bets you're taking here on the baby name?
Yeah, I mean, it's not. I'm not standing here taking bets myself. I don't have the money to do that. But we're basically putting this up just as a bit of a guide to well-wishers, to journalists, that kind of thing. The market has been up basically ever since Kate first announced that she was pregnant. We've taken bets on will it be a boy, will it be a girl, and as we did with George and as we did with Charlotte, we take bets on the name as well. So as you can see here, I don't know if you're a betting man, but Arthur and Alice are the most likely and most popular names in the market at 5-1. This time last week, Arthur was around about 12-1, 14-1. So it's thanks to a flurry of bets that we took last week on people thinking it would be Arthur that we've had to change the odds accordingly.
And what informs you about, these names? I mean, what makes people think it's going to be Arthur or Alice?
So we start off with a generic list of royal names and names that you see in the royal family, i.e. Mary, Victoria, Albert, Philip, these kind of names. And then it's a heavily customer-dictated market. So where it differs from, say, football betting, for example, is that if we've got something wrong, maybe, the customers will tell us, because we'll see a trend. So, for example, Alice was a 14-1 shot when we first opened the market. A lot of people quite clearly were like, no, that seems like too big. So a lot of people start betting on Alice, and then we have to change odds accordingly. So it's very, very customer-dictated market. It's huge.
And do people really engage in this?
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, we're not talking thousands and thousands per bet, but I mean, just looking around today, just with this board being here, you can see people asking if they can get a bet on with me. Sadly not. But,
am I right in thinking that when George was named George, that was the favourite at the time, wasn't it?
That was the favourite at the time when George was named George. With Charlotte, it was Charlotte and Alice. I think we made Alice favourite at one point, and then as close as we got to the birth, I think it was leaning more towards Charlotte. I wasn't here at the time, so I'm not going to confirm that completely, but we're generally there or thereabouts, so I'd be very surprised if it's not a name on this list.
Very interesting indeed. Okay, well, I'll leave you to it, and thanks for explaining that so well. I might just have one really quick word with this gentleman here, if that's okay, because I did leave you before, and I feel a bit guilty about that. Just tell me your name, if that's okay.
I'm Professor Chris Imafidon. I wrote a biography on the Queen, and they won the special BAFTA.
Oh, I see, okay. So you speak from a very kind of educated position then on all of it?
To some extent.
So are you down here today to just lend your wisdom then to the media and stuff?
I've always attended every royal birth. I was here when George was born, I was here when Charlotte was born, and so it's a great renewal to the family once you have an addition to it. So anytime there is a new addition, it brings a new dimension because no two children are the same. So this child will contribute something radically different to the family that is right now not in existence.
No, indeed. Okay, and I mean, I think it's heartening to see how the British public still seem to really get behind events like this, don't you?
Oh yes, because it doesn't come very often. So if it comes once in a while, you've got to prepare for it, you've got to look forward to it, and see that the difference between Britain as an empire and Britain as a powerful nation is royal. They provide the stability, the continuity, they are non-partisan to a very large extent, they are very focused on charity and helping causes, so you've got to respect them and at least pay them the dues.
That's very kind of you to tell us that. Okay, almost got hit by a ladder. I think we should probably leave it there then for today, as it's getting incredibly crowded.
Did you say that was the BBC?
Oh yes, it was. Thank you. We're still live, so I'll take your card, but thank you very much indeed. So let's leave it there today, and follow BBC News for updates of this third baby, who we expect will emerge from this building here either today or perhaps tomorrow.